Imagine being on death row. The clock is ticking. The guards are watching. But instead of fear, you're happily licking an ice cream cone, smiling like you're at a carnival. Sounds like a weird plot twist, right? But this was real life for Joe O'Reilly, also known as the happiest man on death row. And trust me, his story will make you question everything you thought you knew about justice. Joe O'Reilly was born in 1915 in Pueblo, Colorado, to Syrian immigrant parents. From the start, life wasn't exactly fair to him. He struggled in school, was often bullied, and by the age of 10, he was labeled as mentally deficient, which, in the 1920s, basically meant they had no clue how to help him. So, what did they do? Oh, just the logical thing, send him off to a state institution for the feeble-minded at the age of 10. You know, because why give kids actual help when you can just lock them away? Now, here's where things get dark. And by dark, I mean how did the justice system mess this up this badly? Kind of dark.
August 1936. A gruesome crime rocks the small town of Pueblo. 15-year-old Dorothy Drain is found murdered in her home, her sister barely clinging to life. The town is in shock.
Now, normally, detectives would search for actual evidence, right? Well, not in this case. They heard about Joe O'Reilly, who had recently wandered off from his institution, found him playing with a toy train at a rail yard, and basically went, "Yep, he looks guilty." Now, Joe had the mental capacity of a 6-year-old. He didn't even understand what crime was. But the police, being the absolute geniuses they were, pressured him into a confession. And by pressured, I mean they told him a story so many times that he just started repeating it. Oh, and here's a fun detail, he changed his confession multiple times because he literally didn't understand what they were asking. But did that stop the authorities? Nope. Off to trial he went. If you think the justice system would step in and go, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't execute a man with the IQ of a child," oh boy, do I have bad news for you. Despite there being zero physical evidence and despite Joe not even understanding his own confession, the jury took only a few hours to find him guilty. And boom, death sentence. Just like that. Now, here's where I ask you, dear viewer, do you think Joe even knew what the death penalty was? Because, spoiler alert, he didn't. So, you'd think death row would be the most terrifying place on earth, right? Not for Joe. In fact, he became known as the happiest prisoner because he had no idea what was happening. He played with toy trains. He laughed with guards. He thought the warden was his friend. And on his last day, when most prisoners would be praying, crying, or, I don't know, not smiling, Joe happily ate ice cream and thanked everyone for being so nice to him. My heart can't take this, you guys. On January 6, 1939, Joe O'Reilly was executed by gas chamber. His last words? He didn't have any, because he didn't understand what was happening. Now, if this story already has you fuming, hold on. Because decades later, and I mean decades, evidence surfaced that proved Joe was completely innocent all along. Another man, Frank Aguilar, had actually committed the crime, and Joe had just been a scapegoat. Finally, in 2011, 72 years after his execution, Joe O'Reilly was officially pardoned by Colorado's governor. So, you know, just a bit too late. Joe's story is a heartbreaking example of how the justice system can fail the most vulnerable. A man with the mind of a child was executed for a crime he didn't commit, all because of a forced confession and a system that refused to listen. But what do you think? Should his case serve as a lesson against capital punishment? Or do you think justice can ever truly be served after a mistake like this? Comment below. Either way, one thing's for sure, Joe O'Reilly's smile will haunt history forever. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And remember, sometimes, the happiest faces hide the darkest truths.